welcome to another edition of Marty's Place. Today we're going to be making beef stew. Alternately, you can also use beef short ribs, and it's a pretty simple process that I use, and hopefully you'll enjoy the finished result. So the first thing that I want to sort of go over is I've pre-prepared a lot of this already, just in the interest of time. But when you get your package of beef for the stew, what I do is I open it up and I just examine it and make sure and trim off any excess unwanted parts to the beef. And the other thing is, I find sometimes the pieces are quite large. So basically what I would do is I cut them down, and I try to get sort of a 3/4 inch cube in the mix. So depending on the size, and as I said, some of it's marbled and it's hard, but I find it's the best to cut it a bit smaller. And once that's done, I put the cubes on a plate where I have a mixture of flour, and I throw in some spices. So this is a seasoning salt, and these are things that come from European store. And I just sprinkle it in and mix it in with the flour, just to add a little bit of taste. So when I coat the meat, I'll just plug my frying pan in again. I put it in a frying pan with a small amount of oil in the bottom. Like that. There were only 6 pieces here, so it shouldn't take me too long. Good. So now I just brown the meat in the frying pan, turn it, and when it's ready to go, I transfer it into the crock pot. So the crock pot, you can see, has some in that's already been browned. Hopefully you can see it. And after that, I just use a very simple broth. Now, if you have anyone in your family that is sensitive to things like gluten, you can use, I use a gluten-free, depending. This is a beef broth mix, concentrate, or just the regular. And with the flour, the same thing goes, that you may need to use a gluten-free flour. And then it's safe for everyone to eat. Okay, so the last thing I do is I just make sure everything's covered with the broth. And I go between a cup and 2 cups of water and use a teaspoon, or a tablespoon, I should say, of the concentrate, mix it, and then just pour it in. So that it's just covered. And depending upon the amount of beef you have, or short ribs, I just try to bring it up level with the top. Now the idea is I put this on the lowest setting that I have in the crock pot and just leave it simmer. All day sometimes is too long, so what I may do is put it on for, 3 hours in the morning, and then turn it off, and then towards supper time put it on for another hour, hour and a half. And and usually over between 4 and maybe 5 hours, it really tenderizes and it's just a perfect meal. And how we would consume this is we would use either boiled potatoes. I mean, the sky's the limit. You could actually put carrots and potatoes in with this if you wanted to. I tend to do the potatoes and any other vegetables separately. And of course, I usually make a French bread, or you can buy French bread as well to do this, with a nice bottle of wine. This is really coming along now in the frying pan. So I just turn it. And so it's a very simple, tasty meal that everyone in our family certainly enjoys. And so there you have it. In about 4 or 5 hours, we'll be ready for a nice, delicious, tasty meal. So until next time, take care.